Okay, how's everybody doing today? We've got our GarageBand workshop clinic. Um, so I'll put my guitar down for now because we're not going to use it yet. I'm just going to show you how to get into GarageBand, how to set up your tracks, how to record different instruments. I'm going to try and show you how to do each instrument pretty much, and like how all the different types that you would use, which would be an audio microphone, right? Using a microphone here. I'm actually going to be using the microphone, an external microphone that I'm plugging into an interface, and then using my bass or guitar, I'm going to plug that in as well to the interface. And I'll tell you about the interface when we get there. And then MIDI. So we're going to go over just like using a MIDI keyboard to plug in and play different virtual instruments. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. Give me a thumbs up when you see my screen. Good. All right. Okay, so first you want to you got to find where your GarageBand is, and most of the time it's under applications, right? So I'm actually new to Mac, pretty much too. Oops. Did my screen sharing stop? Yeah, okay. Let me come back in. All right, there you go. Okay, so under Finder, I know I might be going all the way very simple, but I wanna make sure you get in quickly, right? Go under Finder and then GarageBand. Now it's gonna take a second to load up because it's a pretty big program. Okay. And we're running Zoom at the same time, and my computer's pretty old. So I'm going to be upgrading my computer pretty soon to try and handle all of what we're doing. All right, so GarageBand pulls up, and you get this screen, this empty project screen. You just want to click into empty project, and it will pull up this screen. And then it gives you the option to choose your track type. Okay, I'm going to start with actually a drummer. I find it's easiest to start with something that, you know, a rhythmic element that we can build on. So I'm going to start with drums. You don't have to do this. You could also do it with a click track or a metronome. The problem with the metronome or click track is it's just, which can get a little bit tricky to stick to. When you have like all of the beats in between, you can kind of get the feel for it. So we're going to start with the drummer, okay? The great thing about the drummer here... Oh, let me make sure I checked. 1 second. I'm going to stop share for a second. Screen share. Oh, okay. Share computer sound. And there we go. Okay, so this drummer, they picked up, they just there's all these different drummers in here, and they're all set up by different types of music. The song I decided we're gonna just loop and record today is it's a song by Bill Withers, who just passed away the other day, and he's one of my favorite songwriters, and he just writes these very simple songs. So this song called Use Me by Bill Withers. And now the guitar part for that song is, pick on me. There we go. Okay. Guitar part goes for this song. It just has this rhythm of. So it's got this kind of like funky kind of rhythm to it. So we're going to go with this funk rock, okay? Now, let me know if you can hear this. No? You can hear it? Okay, hold on. Anybody hearing it? Okay, all right. Some aren't hearing it. Let me try one thing. So up here in preferences, it's going to say you can choose how this wants to, where it's going to go in. So I'm using this interface. Scarlett, the brand name is, here, I'll show it. The brand name is Focusrite, and it's called the Scarlett 2i2. It's USB, plugs right into your computer. This has 2 inputs on it, so you have 2 mic or line inputs, which would be like an instrument input. So, and it's the same, you can use the same input for either microphone or the instrument. Now this is, I think this one is like $150. It's a pretty good quality one. They do have like a solo, which is just 1 input. That's even cheaper. And then there's bigger ones, 4, 8, 16. For like a little project like this, 1 or 2 is enough, most likely. You might need 2 microphones. Say you wanted to record your own drums. It might be good to have 2 or 4 microphones, depending on how you want to do it. You can get great drum sounds with 1 microphone. You just have to really kind of know how to tune in. We're going to do some clinics on miking certain instruments, getting the best sound out of each instrument as well. So I'm going to try switching this output device to built-in output, okay? We'll see if this lets you hear it. If I'm correct, it should. Yeah. Okay, so I just had to send the output back out, okay? Okay, so this sounds, this sounds pretty close to what I want, if I was playing along to it. Now, first of all, though, it's a little bit fast, okay? So, up here at tempo, I can change the tempo of this drummer. Up here, you see where I'm at the top, right? And so I'm going to change that tempo. I actually checked it beforehand, so it's around 75 is where I'm going to be, okay? You just have to experiment with that. There's usually tap tempo available. Let me see if it's... Sometimes you can... I'll have to look into it. A lot of things have tap tempo where you would just tap your finger along to whatever rhythm you think, and it will read the tempo, okay? But guess and check is a good way to just go with tempos unless you find your tap tempo. I'll look into that and let everybody know. All right, so I just slowed it down. Oop. Right now it's got like that groove feel to it, right? Okay, now I can mess with any of these percussion things. I can turn the fills down, not have it do as many fills. I can change the feel, so I can make it like swing a lot. See, now it's like I'm gonna loop this so it keeps going around, or I'll just loop those 2 bars. See, you see the difference between the swing? It's kind of choppy, but then when I'm here, this is straight. Okay, we're gonna swing it just a little bit because Bill Withers swings just a little bit. So that's pretty much all you need to do in here. I mean, again, you can experiment with stuff. You can throw some hand claps in. Oh, you know what? I might throw that in later if we get to that part of the song, because there actually are hand claps in this song when he goes, baby, baby, baby. So we'll see. Maybe that's how you could get crazy on this. Like, I could really try and duplicate this song perfectly, but that could take me hours. I just want to show you how to do some stuff. Okay. So everybody's clear with how this drummer works. Again, you can pick. There's so many options in here. Alternative, songwriter. Each one of these comes with 5 or 6 different drummers for different styles. You can find something that's going to work for your song. If you can't, then like you're doing some pretty avant-garde out there stuff. So GarageBand might not be the tool for you. Actually, you could be. You just wouldn't use these drums. You'd do something else, right? Okay, so we've got our drum track. Oh, I forgot I had claps on. So I'm going to turn the claps off. And again, I could change my hi-hat patterns. And break, like, that kind of adds more sizzle to that hi-hat. I could change what the kicks and drums are doing. So that's going to just change the pattern. And you can come over here and just pull in the grid. And if you want to do it loud or complex or soft and simple, you can just experiment there too. So there's a lot of different options you can do. Now I forget where I was at. I think that's about right. Okay. All right, so we've got our drum track. This I might need to go, I may need to go to the other, back to my other thing so I can hear. You're going to want to use headphones whenever you're recording with a microphone, okay? Because the audio that you're hearing from your speakers is going to get picked up by that microphone. So if I put headphones on, now I've isolated the sound that's already been recorded in my headphones, right? Does that make sense to everybody? So the microphone can't hear that. Only I'm hearing that. So I'm going to play this guitar part. Actually, I've got this microphone right here. This is, it's another little bit of it's a fancier microphone. I wanted to do all of my super cheap gear, but you know, I mean, couple $100 for this microphone, but you can get, this is just called a studio. It's a large diaphragm condenser microphone, okay? You use it for vocals, you use it for guitars, you use it for a lot of acoustic instruments. It's just got, it's very high fidelity, so it picks up everything. You can get them for 40 or 50 bucks though. They're like, there's plenty of them that I just get, you know, a little bit fancier ones because, you know, I'm a fancy guy sometimes. So I'm plugged in from the bottom of this right into the Scarlett, the Focusrite Scarlett into input 1. Now, this microphone requires something called phantom power, which means it needs a little bit of extra juice to make it work. There's a button on here that says 48V. That's phantom power. So I click that on, and now you see the microphone already started picking up the sound, right? It has this LED light that says, like, green is good. If I go really loud, though, it's actually not picking it up. So if I went really loud, it would go red. I'll show you that. But you'll actually also see it in here as well. Okay, so now I'm going to pull up a new track. How I'm going to pull up this new track is I'm going to click this plus sign here, and again it brings up the options. In this case, I'm using a microphone, so I'm going to click this microphone. You record using a microphone or line input, or drag and drop audio files, right? Okay, so I want to hear my instrument as I play and record. That's probably, you want to have that. You want to be able to hear your instrument. You might not actually need that with like an acoustic guitar because I can hear my acoustic guitar when I'm in the same room as it. But like an electric bass, electric guitar, you can't hear it as well. So, and you might want to hear it through the amp settings that you're going to put on. So I don't know that I'm going to do acoustic bass or electric bass. I'm not going to do electric guitar on this track. And then you just select your input. In this case, we were at input 1. I hear sound on, okay, I'm going to switch this to I hear sound on the Scarlett. So that way it's going to come back through my headphones. You're not going to hear the drum track, okay? You're not going to hear the drum track at all. You're just going to hear my guitar on this side, most likely, okay? I think. Also, anybody has any questions, you can pop into the chat too and ask me any questions. Tell me to slow down, explain something a little bit more clearly. Happy to do that, okay? All right, so we should be all set up to record our guitar now. So I'm going to create that track. Good, okay, so here's the track. Now, let's hope our audio processing can handle all this. Now, I'm going to turn off this button up here, that loop button that I turned on. I'm going to turn that off because I want it to play the whole thing. So up here, right next to record, which is that red, we're going to turn that loop off. Now I'm cracking. So now I've got my headphones on, and I am grabbing my guitar. Now, where do you want to have the microphone on your guitar? There's a couple different ideas of what you want to do. Is either the sound hole, that's where sound's going to be coming out of, right? That's going to be the loudest. You can also do it on the body back here, and that's going to be more mellow. And then at the 12th fret, which is the double dots on your guitar, right? That's like going to be kind of the rhythm sound. So that chicky kind of sound. So I usually like to record there when I'm doing rhythm guitar parts. Here, I'll just show you a little difference. So that's around 12th fret. Oh, you're not going to hear that actually, probably. So you can hear it from here, probably from this microphone now. So if I could do it to that microphone, just to show you the subtle difference of where you place your microphone. If I'm here over the sound hole, now I move to the 12th fret, and then over to the body. So it does make a difference, right? Of even just a 6 inches, it's going to change things. All right, so I'm going to go around 12th fret and be up on this one. Okay, so everything's armed. I want to make sure I'm back to the beginning of the song. You can see I'm pulling up audio in this green bar right here. I can actually check that. I'm getting pretty close to clipping there, right? Do you see how I'm getting I'm getting up into the yellow, the high yellow there? It's a little too high. So I'm going to bring my gain down on my interface, which there's only one dial on this one. So I'm going to bring my gain down on the interface just to... Okay. Now I'm in a safe zone. Okay, I'm going to hit record. It's going to count off for 4 beats and then start recording. Okay? Here we go. All right, so you probably just heard the guitar, right? Okay, now I'm going to put that back on. Makes me nervous. I'm going to put this somewhere safer since I'm done with it. All right, as I put this... So now I'm going to go back into preferences. So it's good that you get used to going to these preferences. Audio and MIDI, output device, built-in output. Okay, so that should, now, you should hear drums and guitar together. Right? So now you're starting to hear it. And hear how the drums and the guitar just lock in? Okay, so we call this multi-track recording because we're doing it track by track instead of live recording where everybody be in the same room recording at the same time. The cool thing about multi-track recording is I don't need any other musicians. Like I can play every one of these tracks by myself. Like the drummer, I mean, I actually have a drum set over there. I could have done the drum track, but drums are the hardest thing to record. You have multiple sources, right, that are all spaced out differently from each other. Sound sources, where the sound comes from. And they're all very loud and bleed into each other. So, like, it's the hardest thing to record. So that's why it's great to use these, because it's already perfectly recorded. So if you've got you've got the hardest thing done in the beginning. That's not a bad way to start. Okay, I'm gonna pull up a bass guitar now, and I'm gonna record a bass and show you how that's done too. So 1 second while I grab my bass. Right around the corner here. All right, so here's my electric bass. As you know, these electric bass instruments, electric guitar instruments, they plug in with this 1/4-inch instrument cable, right? 1/4 inch is the width. You'll hear that, or sometimes they call these TS. That means tip sleeve, that tip of it, and then that one band. And then you'll see TRS is when it has 3 of them, and that's a tip ring sleeve. So, not really needed to know, but it's interesting to know. Okay, now, I've taken my bass and plugged it into the second input on this, okay? I could unplug my microphone and plug that right into there, but I've got 2 inputs, so I'm going to use one for microphone and one for my instrument, okay? Don't need phantom power for bass. It's a line level signal, so it's fine. It should be good. There is an instrument button on here that I could use to play with too. Actually, because I'm plugging directly in, I don't need headphones anymore, right? I'm not using a microphone. I'm plugging my directly in. This is just called going in direct because my bass is directly going into the computer. So, another very important thing, tune your instruments before you record. You can't fix tuning after a recording. So if you have a tuned instrument like a guitar or a bass or a violin, even horns, they have to be tuned. So make sure you're in tune before you record, because there's nothing worse than like getting a very good take of something and then it's trash because it's out of tune. So I usually tune between takes. I tuned my acoustic guitar right before we started, so I was like, okay, we're good with that one. But my bass I hadn't tuned today. So I'm going to make sure this is really in tune. You can get away a little bit more with bass because there's slower frequencies. You don't notice it as much. But, okay, so I'm going to pull up a new track. Click in here. Now this one, see this option here? Connect a guitar or bass to your Mac to play through and record through virtual amps and pedal effects. That's what we want to select for this. Now I'm on input 2, so it actually already figured that out. And I'm actually going to try and keep the built-in output on and see if it works. You should be able to hear my bass and all the other instruments all recording together. So here, we're going to pick our bass amp. I'm just going to pick a clean bass amp of something really, back in when they recorded this song, this is probably something similar that they did. But these are all like just guitar amps. You plugged in direct, you don't need a guitar amp. These all have different sounds, and here I could just show you. Okay. I'm going to bring my volume up on that so you hear the bass? Can you hear that? Yeah? Good. Okay, so that's just a clean bass. Getting a little bit. Now I could, here's hi-fi DI. Not much difference there. Let's pick something just maybe. Right, now you can hear. Super fuzzy bass, right? But we're just going for something clean. Something clean for this song. Again, it's kind of a funky song, so. Did I see some chats in there? Yeah, let's see. I'm gonna pull the chat up. You understand all of this, and you hear the bass. That's awesome, dude. That's what I want to. I'm glad you can understand it. I'm trying to keep it simple enough that anybody can get into this, right? Okay, so let me see if that's it. All right. Just see if I remember my bass part too. That part's important. So we're armed. We're ready to go on bass. I'm just going to make sure I'm back to the beginning again. So that button that I just... So if you're up here... Sorry. See this button? That's going to return you to the beginning. It says go to beginning. That's where we want to be. What happened to my bass sound? Oh, I'm on the wrong... See, when I selected this, you're not hearing the bass. But then I select here... Oh, another really good tip. See how this one just says audio 1? I want to rename this. Because if you're recording a bunch of different tracks, and you just have audio 1, audio 2, audio 3, audio 4, audio 100, you might lose track of where everything is. So before you move on, just name some stuff. Acoustic guitar. Now drums, I know what my drums are, right? And 60s combo, I mean, I might rename this one too, to just bass guitar. Because that 60s combo could be a good electric guitar. We're not going to do too many tracks here today, but that's just a good tip in general. All right, here we go. I love when I nail it first take. That's killing it. All right, so all together. All right, pretty good, right? Starting to sound like a song. Okay, next we're gonna do some keyboard tracks. So I'm gonna play with the MIDI keyboard. So again, pull up a new track. You should be able to hear this one just fine too. So I think it was really just that one microphone. And I may do a vocal track over top just to show you how it all goes. We'll see. We'll get into it a little bit and have some fun. All right. So I'm going to use this these are all different instruments that you can use with, you hear that? So I just have this very tiny little MIDI keyboard, okay? It's MIDI over USB. So just a normal USB cable. I don't have another one to show you, but I don't want to unplug it because then things get messed up. I know my keys are backwards between black and white, but that's just to look cool. It doesn't do anything different. And this is just plugged into the computer so I can play those software instruments, or virtual instruments they sometimes call them. And got it? But you can play any single, so drum kit. I could play a drum set. If you wanted to play different parts. That would actually probably be the way to do the hand claps. Instead of programming it in, I would just go back and record those 3 hand claps. Beep, 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 beep. I just have to find where my hand clap is. I don't know that we'll get to that today. Anyway, so I'm going to pick this Wurlitzer Classic. It's very similar to the sound that they used for this song. So, let's see if it's going to pull up. Right? So I'm actually going to move that. Not giving me any. There's some stuff I could mess with in here too, but it's not showing those. But that's okay. We don't need. Sometimes there's some drive and some things that you can you can throw together. Maybe it's actually... All right. Oh, there it was. It was coming in, and then it disappeared again on me. No big deal. We'll do it afterwards, okay? So, because that's the other good thing. By doing it this way, you can change anything after the fact. It doesn't need to be... It's not tracked that way. It's recording your original signal, and then you're putting effects on it. Okay, so that's the other really cool thing about GarageBand, or this way of recording, is that you have more control after you're done recording. When you record live, you can't. Whatever happened live is what happened, right? So you can't do as much fixing of things. All right, I'm trying to turn off this. There we go. All right, so I'm back to the beginning. I think I might be starting to get to... My computer is starting to not like doing all of this. But let's see if... Okay. Come on, back to the beginning. Sorry, it might not be... Oh, there we go. Okay, here we go. So it's going to count in. I'm going to play those parts. 2, 3, 4. Cool? Right? Now, there's actually another keyboard part that comes in every once in a while. So I'm going to show you how to I'm going to just do another one. It just does a harmony. So why not? Let's toss it in there. I'm going to pick the same sound and just do... That's what it is. Okay. But I'm only going to do it halfway through. So I'll start it here. Let it record. I'm going to come in the second half. All right. So we've got a loop pretty much, right? We've got an 8-bar loop. Okay, now if you've got a loop, this is a great way to start. It's just I've got an 8-bar loop. Now I can select all of these. Okay. Oops. How do I actually select all? Okay, there we go. Just select all. That's the best way to do it. And then copy, paste. Right? Do you see I'm just doing that every bar, like every 8 bars? Just copy, and I'll just keep on, oops. Paste. And I could just keep on doing this. And adding it in. So, and like actually this extra part right here, this Wurlitzer, it doesn't happen the first time, it doesn't happen the second time, so I can just delete these, right? And just keep on going, and I could keep on pasting. I'm just going to paste a bunch of them, okay? And then we'll go back and decide which ones where we're going to put stuff in. Okay. Now I'm just going to do a quick vocal track over it. just to show you how to do that. That's the best way to do it. Build your whole song. Build your house, right? We talk about this actually even in Kids Rock. Like, build the foundation, which is the drums and like the bass and the rhythm guitar, right? Then you add in the sparkly stuff, like those keyboards and the cool, like the riffs and the lead guitars. And then at the end, do the vocals. The reason why you want to do the vocals that way is the vocalist's performance is like that can be the most important part of the song, right? And if they're just recording over a click track, they're probably going to feel bored, right? It's going to come across as bored. If they've got the whole song and like the vocalist can really feel it, they're going to sing better. It's just going to happen. Like they just going to. I mean, I can't explain why, but you just do. All right, so I'm going to. Now, again, you're not going to be able to hear, whenever I do this microphone, I have to use headphones. So you're not going to be able to hear my recording, or you're going to just hear my vocal. So I haven't warmed up today. We'll see how this goes. Does anybody know this song already? Anybody heard this song? Nice. Okay, so again, add a track. And I'm picking the audio. And now I'm going to select this output device as the Scarlett again, just so I can hear everything in my headphones and not anything else. A good thing to do, remember, I got to turn on phantom power again. A good thing to remember is rename your track, right? A lot of the time, Vox is what we use for vocal, VOX. Don't ask me why. I mean, that's what people do. So if you want to sound like you know. A lot of time I like to bring my vocals up top too. You can just click and drag, move things around where you want them. I tend to put drums, I tend to do like my hot signals like drums and bass down at the bottom. I shouldn't be pushing my computer harder than it needs to go right now, but anyway, you can rearrange these. That's all I was really showing you. Okay, now I've got this. I should be armed and ready to go. You can probably just hear me through the that microphone, but I'm right here, right up on it. Hey, check. Hey. Again, I'm trying to make sure I don't clip it. If I don't go too loud into it. Okay. So I'm going to let it play through the first time, and then I'm going to start singing the second time. You might be able to hear a little bit from my headphones, but... My friend, yeah, feel it's their appointed duty. Oh, they keep trying to tell me, yeah, and all you want to do is use me. Oh, my answer, go on and use me stuff. Yeah, I say I wanna spread the news that if it feels this good getting used, you just keep on using me until you use me up. Until you use me up. All right, I'm just gonna do first verse, first chorus. Okay. I love this song. I could do the whole thing for you, but I think that gives you enough. All right, now when we go back through, we can now add all of these different effects to it. Okay, so like we can add a compressed vocal, different types of vocals in here. Yeah, I'll just do a compressed vocal. All right, so you can adjust all this, and we're gonna start getting into mixing pretty quickly here. I just want to get that last recording done. Okay, let me put back in so you can hear again to the built-in output. Perfect. All right, so now you should be able to hear. And you'll hear me talk here, but you might be able to hear a little bit from my headphones. Now, we don't want that in there, right? So how do we get rid of that? We just click and drag past it. And it's gone. Never happened, right? You see, like here, I'll show you again. Just down, if you go to the bottom of your track, there's this arrow both ways. And you can click and drag. So it still exists there. It's back there. I'm just clicking and taking it out of here. Got it? All right, so now I'm just going to pull it up to where like the vocal starts. My friend, feel it's their appointed duty. Oh, they keep trying to tell me all you want to do is use me. So I picked a different effect in there. So you can just try out different. Okay, so here's the part I wanted to actually kind of show you here. Is actually, we've got, in this part of the song, the music all stops except for the drums, okay? So here's just like a quick edit I have to make. So starting right here at, I want to spread the news. I want to spread the news, okay? So all I'm going to do is click and drag all of the tracks except for the drums. Oop. Waiting. Oops. One more little, and it kind of snaps to a grid if you do this right and you set everything up right. It's all on a grid, so it's pretty easy to make this work. I could actually probably extend a little. We'll see how that sounds. Okay, so it should drop out just to drums and vocal. Go on and you and me stuff. Yeah, I say I want to spread the news that if it feels it's good getting used, you just keep on using me until you use me up. How easy is that, right? And actually, I didn't like this guitar in there. That, like, extra little guitar in there. I didn't like it. So I'll just come back and now. Okay. Now you got this. Yeah, I say I want to spread the news. Actually, the bass went over a little bit too, right? So just take that one back. Here's the little nitty gritty stuff. This is the stuff that you go over. I say I want to spread the news that if it feels it's good getting used, you just keep on using me until you use me up. Till you use me up. Oh, sometimes. Sorry, I just really. Okay, and then I don't need any. I mean, we could just say this is done. You know, we're done at 28 bars, pretty much, right? Okay, now a good thing to do, and I haven't done this yet, and you should do this right away. Save. Okay, they do have very good autosave functions in here, but it's also easier on your computer to save stuff and then like dump it all into one file. So save. So we're just gonna call this intro to GarageBand. Use me, right? And we're gonna save it. You know, you could save this wherever you want. I'm just gonna save it to GarageBand. So it'll just save it, to a folder in GarageBand. So that should have freed up a little bit of the CPU too, because it wasn't holding all of that information, right? All right, now we'll just do a quick mixing, what you can do mixing wise, okay? So just right in here, the best way to really mix, especially the quickest way to mix, is mix with volume and with panning first, okay? If you can mix with just volume and panning, you're doing a really good job. That means you recorded it well and everything's in. Now, you've got cool software instruments and everything here, so it's probably recorded well if you're doing it in Rockband and in GarageBand. So right here, this volume slider, that's your volume for each track. Each one of these tracks has its own volume slider that you can adjust. So, for instance, if I'm playing back and I don't want the acoustic guitar, I just pull it back. Right? And you can mix from here. Now, panning. What is panning? Panning is your left and right speaker, okay? You hear this easiest when you have headphones on, right? Because it's actually just left and just right. And when you have that, you can actually put instruments anywhere along like the panning spread. So like if it's like this, all the way left, all the way right, you can put an instrument anywhere in that range. So for instance, I might put my acoustic guitar a little bit to the left. I'm just gonna put it a little left, and I'll put my whirly a little right. We'll go, we'll do 30 and 30 around that. 31, 30. Okay. Now, and then maybe I'll put this that second whirly to the left a little bit, just so it counteracts that other whirly. You might not hear this too much on your computer speakers, but it's going to spread it out a little bit more. It's a good thing to do. Usually you keep drums wide or centered, bass centered, and vocals centered. Your lead vocals centered. Backup vocals you might spread out further, and then any other instrument can pretty much go wherever you want. Experiment with that. Actually, let me see if I can. Can you hear it when I? Okay, if it's all the way right versus all the way left, it might be actually. All right, so there's basic mixing, volume, panning, okay? Also, any one of these, when you click on each track, it'll also pull up controls and EQs and everything just for that track. So like for vocals, there's like an EQ here, right? Now, this is starting to get pretty, when we start getting into EQ and compression, they're kind of like probably their own classes, but you can get in here and experiment. EQ is going to be how what frequencies you're going to boost or cut, okay? Frequencies are what you're hearing, right? Actually human hearing, you can see it right here. Human hearing, all the way down here, it says 20, and then it says 20,000 or 20K up here. That's what the human ear hears, is 20 hertz, which is 20 times per second that a wave goes back and forth, up to 20,000 hertz. Other animals hear higher, like you've heard of a dog whistle, right? Where you like blow on it and only dogs can hear it. So that means dogs can hear above 20,000 hertz. They can hear higher than us. Bass. So basically, like you see in this vocal track, we've cut a lot of the low end. That's because my voice doesn't really go that low. So there's just noise down there that we don't really want. So we cut it. So, but I could just click and drag. If I want to bring it back in, I can click and drag around. A good way to do this is experiment. So I'll just play it back. And move it around while it's playing back. All you want to do is use me. Right? And you can hear different parts of... And then you can find where it sounds good. And then back it off a little bit. That's a good way to go about it. And like, you know, I found there was actually a spot in there that I didn't like where it sounded. So, oh, it's still recording me. Like around there, I didn't like that how my voice sounded in there. So what I'll do is I'll cut that. I'll cut that frequency a little bit. Now you're only talking about boosting and cutting little bits. If you boost or cut too much, it's going to sound obvious. Now, you can also do that for an effect. If you want it to sound obvious, do that. But the rule of like thumb, if you want a clear sounding recording. So it already sounds a little bit better. All right, I'm going to go back to controls. All right, we could talk a little bit about compression. Compression is taking your loudest notes and your quietest notes and balancing them out. Most instruments can benefit from a little bit of compression. Drums, you can go nuts if you want to and get like a cool squashed drum sound. Vocals definitely like compression because we have a lot of dynamic change in our voice, right? We go from like a whisper to a loud pretty quickly, whereas a bass is going to be about the same. So I'm not sure these are going to actually work for me too much, but you probably won't even hear the difference too much on your end. But yes, you can experiment and try some stuff out. I don't know why, and it doesn't look like any of these dials are working for me right now. So unless it's my MIDI controller could do it. Doesn't look like it. Okay. What did I do? Turn stuff off. Okay. Well, I don't know what happened here. All my tracks disappeared. 1 second. They're all muted. So that's a good. See how these all these mute signs are open now. Okay, maybe there it is. Ah, all right. What happened is, see, I'm glad. Sometimes it's good when mistakes happen. See this headphone icon here? That means your solo button. So if you just want to listen to one track all by itself, once you have things, say I just want to listen to this whirly, I click that and it mutes everything else. Now that's a good way to mix it, right? Is just listen to each track by itself and do some EQ and get it sounding the best you can. If this pulls up, I actually do want to see if I can show you the one thing. It doesn't seem to want to. Okay, now if I unsolo that, everything comes right back in. Right? I just want a solo bass. I can also mute stuff if I just mute drums. So that's what the speaker icon with like the dash through it means. All right. I think we'll do like our own mixing tutorial because we're at about an hour already, and I find we start losing people after about an hour. So I think this is a good. Did this answer pretty much everybody's questions of how to get started recording in GarageBand? Now it finally pulls stuff up. Oh, let me talk about exporting real quick. If you want to save it as something you want to share with people, then you're going to go in here to File. Maybe not. Maybe it's... Oh, no, I'm sorry. It's in Share for GarageBand. And most of the time what you want to do is export song to disk. Okay? So you just go into Share up here at the menu bar, down to Export Song to Disk. It'll give you this dialogue, which you're probably all pretty used to, right? Is just, it's a save dialogue. You can choose where you want to save this. I'm going to save it to my desktop, okay? And you have all these different file type options. WAV and AIFF, they're called lossless, which means they're going to be really big files that are really, they're exactly what happened, right? Or a digital copy of exactly what happened without any compression, or like compression in this case, different kind of compression, file type compression, where it makes the file smaller, right? So WAV and AIFF, that's the Apple version. WAV is the Windows version. AIFF is the Apple version. They're lossless. MP3 and AAC, MP3 is actually pretty universal. AAC is that Apple version again, I'm pretty sure. So I'm gonna just do an MP3. That's pretty common. Everybody knows about MP3s. You can send them by email. They're small and they sound pretty good. They don't sound exactly like a WAV file, but most people don't know the difference. I can't tell much of the difference, and people, I'm an audio nut, so. Now, you can choose which quality you want. I would go high quality or highest quality. When you're getting down in these two, then you really start hearing it. So I'm just going to go highest quality and click export. So it's going to bounce it down, which means it's going to put everything together, all of these separate tracks. It's going to glue them now into one or to two tracks, really. Now it's glued into a left and a right track. That's all in one. So a stereo track. It's a single stereo track is actually two mono tracks, if that makes sense, right? Mono meaning one. Stereo is two monos, one panned all the way left, one panned all the way right. Anything that's in the center is going to go to both left and right channels. Does that make sense? So you can see it's working its way through. Bouncing it. While it's going through this, does anybody have any questions in the chat? Or you know what? I can unmute people too. You can just raise your hand if you have a question that you want to. Any questions? No? All right. So this will just keep bouncing. Again, my computer's kind of slow. Oh, yeah? Blair's got one?
Yeah. Have you tried it in the phone?
Yeah, no, I've done
actual, iPhone.
Yeah, I've done it
on
phone and tablet. I use it on my iPod, or sorry, my iPad with students. And I'm going to do a tutorial all on that one too, because it's a little bit different. I do need to get the iRig, which is the thing that you can plug into your iPad to record right from, or your phone to record right to to record right through GarageBand there. So yeah, or you could just use all virtual instruments and record with the microphone in your phone. You could actually you can get by with just that. So I'm going to do another tutorial on doing it on your phone or tablet too, because it's a little bit different. But you get pretty much the same instruments. You could just do a little more on your desktop because it's your desktop, right?
Right.
It has more capabilities of working. Yeah, I know. I was debating which way to go, if I should do it on the phone or the tablet or the desktop, and then I was like, you know what? I was thinking, depending on where we go, maybe I will just log on with my iPad and do a screen share and do the same thing. But I'll just do the same kind of thing for the next time.
Cool.
Yeah, but it is pretty similar. I know that
Okay.
Some people have told me it's hard to share. It's harder to share from your iPhone or iPad, but I remember using it. I think you might need to like export the project to the desktop version of GarageBand, and then
Okay.
export it there. But I feel like I remember doing it. I feel like I've done it before with students where we got it down to a track. So I don't know. Will was actually telling me like I think you can't do it on the iPod, but
All right.
or iPad. Why can't I keep saying iPod? It's like that just makes me sound like an old dad. The old iPod.
My boss's husband, who's the musician, his like buddy in his band actually works for Apple. So if you have questions, I could always ask them.
Ah, very good to know.
Like he works, yeah, like he's like the like genius at the Mac store. It's his like side gig.
Oh, nice. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm looking at upgrading my Mac too. So that's
All right, I'll
that's
get his
coming
name,
next.
and then as a fellow musician, you guys could hook it
Yeah,
up.
I know. I've been looking. You know, I would like to. I would like to pick his brain as to if I should really, because you know, I've been searching around and I found the iMac Pro, which is like blacked out and looks really cool. And I was like, oh, I don't want to spend that much money though, do I?
Yeah. No,
But-
I'll get his contact info for you.
But I'm doing so much of this video editing and so much like I'm like I need a computer that can keep up with what I'm pushing it to do. And my 2009 iMac is not cutting it. Like this bounce should take 10 seconds, 10 or 15 seconds. But
Yeah.
right now it's just we're pushing the processing power. And look, we're also doing all of these extra measures that we didn't need, right? Because I only sat
Right.
until measure 31. But once we get it bounced, I'll just pull it up on my desktop so you can hear that it's bounced and it's one recording now. I would spend we did that pretty quick, right? We recorded a song and did a rough mix. I would call that a pretty rough mix, in about an hour. That's pretty quick. That's really quick. I would usually probably spend a little bit more time getting the recording exactly right. You do a couple takes until you feel good about it. You can also do one take on one track and then duplicate that track down, right? So just duplicate the track and then do another take so you can save the old takes. Just in case you get one and then you're like, I'm going to try it again. And then you really do bad the second time. You didn't lose the first take. So make sure you don't like delete old takes if you can avoid it. What else? Almost done. I think we're coming to the end here.
Good song choice.
Huh? Good song
Good
choice?
song choice.
Yeah.
I was
well,
making Everett listen to Bill Withers yesterday.
I did a live
Obviously.
stream of all of his songs last night on Facebook and was just playing my favorite. He's probably my favorite musician, like songwriter of all time. He's just got a cool story too. Like he didn't start. He pretty much he spent all of his own money recording his first album, and he was like 32 years old.
Oh, wow.
And pitched it to everybody himself, and they were like, no, like people didn't like it, and then Ain't No Sunshine happened, and it's like,
Yeah.
and he's very modest. He's like, well, he was very modest. He's like, I'm not a good musician. He's like, I stink at playing guitar. He's like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what does he say? Like, I don't know an F sharp. I don't know an F sharp from First Avenue. Like, just like, what does that even mean? But all right, so we're good. Again, watch what I just did. Save. Save. I'm gonna keep on like always be saving. That should be like ABS. Always be saving. That's I know that they all have autosave features now in them, but like I don't know. I trust myself to do it more than anything. So I'm gonna quit GarageBand. We're done in this, and then we're gonna go and you'll see my MP3 is right down here, right? Intro to GarageBand right on my desktop. So I click that. And my iTunes will take forever to Okay, this has been an hour long. I know, Ben. We're almost done, dude. Look, you got it, right? Now it's in iTunes.
Friend, feel it's their appointed duty.
We took a song from nothing to iTunes in an hour and 9 minutes. Not bad, huh? Not too bad. All right. Any other further questions? Anybody got one? Colin, you've been quiet. You good? You clear?
Yeah, I'm good.
You good? Ben, you good? Yeah?
Yep.
Nice. Blair, good?
Oh yeah.
All right. If you got any
There's mud for
questions,
this old lady.
what's that?
There's mud for this old lady.
Yeah, no, you're doing. I like I said, I think you're super cool for being here learning, and I'll work on getting the one for iPhone or tab. I think they're the same, the tablet and iPhone versions, but I'll take a look. I wanted to get it on this one first, and then we can always pare down. Now I would also spend a lot more time mixing, right? So that's definitely we barely got into mixing today, but so that's definitely something that we can talk more about on a later time. But also just experiment, and there's also tons of YouTube videos like you can learn how EQ and compression work on your own time too, right? In between these sessions, and that way if you have any questions, you can let us know. All right, bye, Ben. All right, y'all. Thanks so much for spending a Saturday learning something new. I appreciate it. And I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.